We're improvising up here, everybody. Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to the Rotary Club of Fort Worth. What a great room. It's full today. That tells you something. To our amazing speakers. For our invocation, let's welcome to the stage Bill Fairley, Financial Advisor with Fairley Wealth, who'll be followed by Wesley Gentle, President and Executive Director with Arts Fort Worth, playing our national anthem.
Thank you, President. Rebecca, join me for a short prayer. Okay. Please bow your head. Father, we thank you for the opportunity to meet today with those who put service above self. We thank you for the hands that prepared and served this food today. We thank you for our many blessings and ask that you help us count these daily. We ask that you give us strength, courage, and above all else, hope. Amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare upon thirsting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Exactly.
Wow.
Wesley.
There is a second prayer. Woo!
How special. Thank you, Bill and Wesley. You see, we've all got all kinds of new things taking place today. Now to welcome our wonderful visitors, Josh Friend, UTA. Step right up.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Stepping in for Randall today, we have a good amount of visitors. So we have Greg Irwin, guest of John Loudenslegger. We have Nancy Mitchell, guest of Bob Mitchell. And then Becky Burton has a whole troop with us right here today. We have Mary Grace Clark, Lisa Metcalf, Trinity Metcalf, Olivia Clark, and Ella Clark right over there. Captain Kirk has got FBI Sergeant Chris Maffei, somewhere where he is, wasn't there? We have visiting Rotarian Kim Wen from Cross Timbers, and Reagan Hasley, her guest. Pete Darling, guest of Ryan Terry. We have Molly Bresnahan, my guest, right in there. We have Dawn Prejean, guest of Rachel Capua. And then we have Sally Attrier, guest of Maria Wallman. And we have Kevin Randalls is here as well as one of our award recipients. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. And to all our visitors, we're so glad you chose to join us today. Welcome. Now let's take a moment to thank our amazing program sponsor. Telshow Johnson Law is an experienced law firm in Fort Worth that helps individuals and families prepare for the future. Their attorneys know that life has unexpected obstacles, and it is their goal to give you the knowledge and tools needed to secure your future. Thank you so much, Karen, and Telshow Johnson Law. All right, it's that time, everyone. What time? Time for the four-way test. That's right. This four-way test is a roadmap to how we as Rotarians lead our everyday lives, not just here between the bells at lunch, but throughout our interaction we have with one another. To our visitors, you can join us by viewing the screen. First, second, all concerned. Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all? Great job, everyone. Great job. Now, one of the moments you've been waiting for, the newscast. Presented by Mitch Reitman, principal with the Reitman Consulting Group. Make your way up here, Mitch.
Well, thank you. I feel about as welcome as Elon Musk at the Federal Lighthouse Management Administration. Now, you may have heard that the newscast has to conform to the four-way test. And not only does my newscast conform to the four-way test, I hope it meets the fifth test. Is it funny? Because I don't want to complain, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings that isn't here today. But last fall, the newscast got so boring, the Chinese government quit listening. But I understand standards. I mean, last year, a few newscasts were so offensive that Roseanne Barr complained. So last week, a lottery ticket matched all 6 numbers, resulting in a payout of $83.5 million. Officials have determined that a courier service purchased all 25 million available numbers and that the results were rigged. Now, a portion of the lottery goes to fund education, which must not be working because people bought lottery tickets even though they knew it was rigged. A little too technical there. Yeah, I got it, if I can get these pages apart. Maybe for the best, let's see. In Thailand, Chamoy Thipyaso was convicted of more than 16,000 counts of fraud in a pyramid scheme that cost investors more than $200 million. The jury sentenced her to 741,902 years in prison. Experts say that the liberal parole boards in Thailand, should barely do half of that. In Tarrant County, the Sheriff's Office arrested 115 men who had sought to pay for sex acts with officers acting as decoys. Soliciting a prostitute is now a felony, and the Tarrant County DA has issued target letters informing the suspects that they face indictment. The letters begin, "Dear John." This is the first newscast since the Chinese New Year, Year of the Snake. Not much seems to have changed, and in fact, I'm still writing Year of the Dragon on my checks. Got to be over 40 for that one. In Keystone, Colorado last Saturday, competitive eater Joey Chestnut set a record by eating 3 pounds of bacon in 4 minutes. He then flew to the Pruneland prune eating contest in San Jose, California Saturday night and downed 163 prunes in 5 minutes. Sunday morning, Mr. Chestnut set a new record. See, bathroom humor works here, Rebecca. In sports news, the New York Yankees dropped their ban on beards 49 years after it was imposed by George Steinbrenner. Several of the older players are growing beards for the first time. They're coming in parsley gray, or what we call salt and pepper. They're being referred to as seasoned veterans. Daylight saving time is effective at 2 a.m. this Sunday morning. Arizona and Alaska don't observe it, so they will dial in early for Zoom meetings. 1/3 of the microwave clocks will be an hour behind. 1/3 of the microwave clocks will be correct because they weren't reset last fall. And 1/3 will continue to blink midnight because they were never reset after the 2021 blackouts. Humans have a hard time figuring out to spring forward or fall back, but my pets will be ready for breakfast at 4:30 in the morning. This weekend's weather will be warm and sunny, so get outside and enjoy it. There may be some rain, but don't be upset. If it wasn't for the weather, we could never end the newscast.
Thank you, Mitch. He likes to keep us on our toes. Now for a social committee announcement. Please join us on the stage and welcome our social committee chair, Ed McGlynn, insurance consultant with Champion Commercial Insurance, and Brendan Harrington with Audubon Fort Worth.
Hello, everyone. Excuse my appearance this afternoon. I'm auditioning for a part in Taylor Sheridan's new series, The Dermatologist of Yellowstone. Anyway, good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. I know I'm usually up here with Brenda, but something obviously went haywire down in the Rotary mailroom, and my memo ended up in Brendan's mailbox. I wasn't expecting him either, but well, here we are.
Hey, you're lucky it's not in Bob Mitchell's mailbox. You'll never see it again. So, Ed, what is going on with social committee?
Well, Brendan, I'm so glad you asked that. But is it true that Audubon may have an event coming up?
Well, yes, Mr. Ed, we always have events, but in this case, we've got an event called Wheels and Wine, an event at Audubon and Kukula Winery, which we'll talk about in a second.
Wow, that sounds like fun. By the way, what model is that y'all sell? Is that the Mini T?
Wrong franchise.
Huh? Oh.
Wrong franchise.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. Different. Anyway, well, that sounds like fun. When is this going to happen?
Wednesday, March 12th, 5:30 to 7:30 at Audubon.
Great. Oh,
Oh, sorry, Ed, do you think you can make it?
Brendan, I'm so glad you asked that. Of course I will be there. It's required as part of my duties as head of the social committee. What other details are there?
All right, for those of you guys that don't know, well, first of all, if Jim's here, not all Californians are bad. Some that make good wine are actually good guys. Anyway, so Kukula is a small boutique winery from Paso Robles, Rhone style, GSM blend, and Kevin Usula, who's the owner and winemaker, will be out for that week, and you can either, well, pay $25 a person and go tasting on Tuesday, or come on Wednesday, and it's free for all Rotarians at Audubon. His wine is excellent. I'm sure you've never heard of it before because, again, it's a small boutique winery that is getting a bunch of 94 and 95 pointers out of Central Coast.
Wow, that sounds awesome. That'll be an amazing event. And the best thing, it's no charge for Rotarians. More details will be forthcoming. The link to the RSVP got lost somewhere down that Rotary mailroom again. We got to see what's going on down there. But it should be in the next rotograph. You must register to attend so they'll know how many people are going to be there. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ed and Brendan. That sounds like fun. Everybody get your RSVP in. Now we have a very special announcement. We have a grant award to present. Everyone, please help me welcome Elliot Goldman, founder, GL2 Partners, to announce today's grant award.
It is so great to see so many people out for my grant presentation. I love this. We have a lot of great organizations that we help. This one is fantastic. It's Camp John Mark, and for those of you who don't know about it, it is a camp for kids with medical difficulties, and they come out, and the doctors volunteer their time to make sure that they can have a real camp experience. And we have the opportunity to provide for their ropes course and zip line some equipment. And so Kevin Randalls, who is the head of the camp, is here and to accept his grant for $5,000 from us. So very excited to have him. Congratulations. Please remember, we can't do this without your help, so there should have been oh, look there, a QR code right up on the thing. Oh, we got to scoot over and take a picture with President Rebecca. I keep forgetting that. Okay, back to, just as a reminder, we can't do this without your help. For those who are making contributions, we appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Elliot, and congratulations to you, Kevin. Just as Elliot was sharing, you can contribute any time of the year to our Children's Fund, our Endowment Fund, or our Veteran Support Fund. Or if it makes it easier for you, you can also contribute every time you're renewing your dues, because all of you in here as members that contribute make these grants possible. We look forward also, Kevin, to you coming back and sharing a grant in action update. Wonderful. Now, back by popular demand, please welcome our chairperson of the day, Carlo Capia, past Rotary President, Chief of Strategy and Innovation with the City of Fort Worth.
Garrett, if you can help me with that. Good afternoon. So for the first time in our city's history, the city of Fort Worth is being known as an educational destination. Recent expansions of higher ed institutions in the city have been front page news, including the University of Texas at Arlington. We also have, this is not the University of Texas at Arlington. This is a man who you'll be hearing from shortly, is our Councilmember Michael Crane. Maybe on the next one, there we go. So most of you might recognize the current UTA campus in downtown Fort Worth, and many of you have likely heard of the recently announced UTA West, a new campus that is projected to generate $300 million of economic impact and create 2,200 jobs. These projects are led by UTA President Jennifer Cowley, a graduate of Arlington Martin High School, and she has degrees from Texas A&M and UNT, and has worked at UNT, Ohio State University, and for the cities of Amarillo and College Station. She became UTA president in 2022, and I looked up a couple other fun things that you won't find in her bio. So get this, the summer after her freshman year at Texas A&M, she attempted a seemingly impossible plan to graduate early and save money. She crammed a year's worth of coursework into a single summer, taking classes simultaneously at UTA, TCC, and a correspondence course from Texas Tech. She does not recommend doing this ever again. The other fun thing we found out is that she will admit that she sometimes sneaks into the basement of the UTA library to play Ms. Pac-Man. Is that right? Do your students join you? Do you beat them? Right, as you should. Joining her in conversation on higher education is District 3 City Council member and fellow Rotarian Michael Crane. Please give a warm welcome to our guest today, UTA President Jennifer Cowley.
Is this on? There it is. Awesome. How are you?
I'm great.
What level can you get to on Miss Pac-Man?
Pretty far. But,
far?
you know, the problem is I have too many meetings, so I can only squeeze in 10 minutes.
Squeeze in a little bit of time. I mean, that should be able to get you pretzel. Where do you go?
Yeah, I can get a
you
pretzel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's me too, a little bit too. So I'll have to come over and we'll play at some point.
That sounds
We'll do a
great.
little competition.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Man, I wasted summer 84 playing Miss Pac-Man, 1 quarter at a time.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for being here. That was very interesting. Also following up on a whole summer of, how many hours did you do? 30, how many hours did you need?
I took 24 hours
24 hours.
and did an internship.
In about 8 weeks. Is that right?
Yeah.
What did you sleep?
Yeah, I would get up in the morning and I would start classes at 8 a.m. at
Okay.
UTA.
Yeah.
Take classes all morning. Then I would go to an internship at the State Attorney General's office all afternoon, 3 days a week. And then 2 days a week in the afternoon, I was at TCC. And then I was taking correspondence classes through Texas Tech. And I'll just say, all extraordinary instruction, all over the place. It was great. That was not my best grade. So please do not pull my UTA transcript.
But you passed, right?
Oh, I passed.
Well, a little secret, Carlo has pictures from you back then, if you want to turn to the screen. I'm just kidding. We did.
It's okay. I
That
looked
would've been really good,
cute.
wouldn't it,
I
if we
looked
would've
really
found
cute.
those?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for being here today. You are doing some incredible work. I think we're, as Carlos also alluded to, in this very interesting time that education, it's always been important, but I think we're talking about it a lot more and what that looks like, not only from the college level, but all across the board, all levels, as we understand now that we need an educated workforce here to continue to be on this trajectory that Fort Worth and the whole Metroplex is on. So I appreciate you being here today.
Absolutely.
Well, let's launch into some of these questions that we have, but tell us a little bit about, you went to Arlington Lamar, so you have some Texas roots.
That's, no.
What did you say? Sorry, I messed up.
You said Lamar. That's the crosstown rival.
You're Arlington.
Martin.
Oh, sorry guys, I got to learn my Arlington geography.
Yeah.
Wow, tough crowd today.
I'm telling you.
It's almost like I'm you up here doing the newscast or something.
Yeah.
Just kidding. So, okay, Arlington Martin, but you have some deep Texas roots, but it sounds like you've been all around too. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So I had the chance to move to Arlington when I was in elementary school. Graduated from Arlington Martin, was part of the Fort Worth Symphony, Youth Symphony Orchestra, and so played violin all the way through college and really enjoyed that. I was a total disappointment to both of my parents. My mom wanted me to be a concert violinist, and my dad wanted me to be a computer scientist. It didn't work out either way. I think they were really scared I was going to wind up living at home. And in fact, I did for the first 3 months I was president at UTA. My son was a senior up in Denton, and so we wound up having me live with my parents for a little while. So.
Okay, so you moved back home.
I moved back home, yeah.
How old were you when you moved back home?
Old.
Oh, there you go. Every parent's fear, for sure. We're going to move when our kids get of that age where they don't know where we are.
Oh, smart.
Crazy. So Texas roots, family, elaborate on that.
Yeah, so my husband, he works at TTI in North Fort Worth. He's a data scientist there. And then our son, Nathan, he is a student at UTA. Okay. Yeah.
Your parents kind of did get a computer scientist a little bit. Right?
Yeah, they did. I married one.
You married one. There you go. So the exciting times for UTA. And I think we talked about this before. My father went to UTA in the early 60s and got a 2-year electrical engineering degree there when it was still kind of a commuter school, which has changed a lot in the last 30, 40, 50, 60 years. Your 130th anniversary. Tell us what that's like, what it's like to be there as you're celebrating that.
Yeah, 130 years of excellence. So I'll tell you a little bit more about our origin story. So we started as a military academy back when we were kind of the Wild West. And then as agriculture grew in this part of our region, then we became an agricultural technical college. And then in the 1950s, we had General Motors move into Arlington, and we became a comprehensive 2-year university. We were growing rapidly and got to the point that it was time to become a 4-year university. So we transferred our community college responsibilities to Tarrant County College.
Did not know that. Who knew that? Anybody know that? Wow, you learned something.
Yeah, I got more fun facts for you.
Let's go.
Okay, so when we became a 4-year university, we were part of the Texas A&M system. So we were a branch campus of Texas A&M. Yeah, but then we got in a big fight.
Oh.
Yeah, so the big fight was that we had become the 4th largest university in Texas, and Texas A&M College Station was worried that we were going to become bigger than the College Station campus. And so they were like, no, you can't grow anymore. And we're like, hell yes, we are. And so we seceded, and we went to the University of Texas system, who welcomed us and said, sure, you can be an independent university. And we just took off from there and have grown into this huge, comprehensive, major research university University, and so there's lots of other fun stories that are there along the way, but now we're in the top 4% of research universities in the country.
That's wonderful. How many alum, UTA alum, raise your hands if you are.
Oh yeah, we got a bunch of them.
There you go. Way to go.
Yeah, we have 280,000 alumni.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
A lot of people, a lot of doing great things. I think most people think, and we'll transition through this a little bit, but most people think that UTA is Arlington. But you've had a presence here in Fort Worth for a long period of time. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so we've been in Fort Worth for more than 40 years. So we started with a campus in East Fort Worth in Riverbend. It started as the UTA Robotics Institute and now is the UTA Research Institute. It is the coolest place to go visit. You will find all kinds of latest, greatest technology. We have the world's largest CT scanner that we got custom built just for us. We're the only people who have it in the world. Why do we need the world's largest CT scanner? You're shaking your head like no idea. And so it's to scan the helicopter blades for Bell and for Lockheed. And so we built it for them so that we can make sure that we have the integrity and materials that are needed to make sure that, we take flight. So that's just one example, but we're building a drone facility out there right now. So before you know it, you'll be able to come over and watch all the drones talking to each other and swarming around. And so it's a lot of fun.
That's the Utari.
That's at Utari. And then we have our downtown Fort Worth location that we've had since 2007. And so we offer a range of academic programs there targeted at professionals looking to continue their education.
Right. I know John Lonslager used to work, where is he? They're there, do some of your executive MBA program too. And so I'm sure there's other folks that have a connection there. So we've talked about some of those campuses. I'm obviously in the work that we've been able to do together is in the new campus, which caused a lot of confusion with people a little bit because they're, again, thought, well, UTA is only in Arlington, but you're going west. We're coming west.
It's the next step west. I mean, we've been just moving along the west corridor. And so as we looked at the growth of the Dallas-Fort Worth region and where it's going, the population projections and the needs for education, where are there pockets where there isn't access to a university degree? And as we looked at, your part of Fort Worth, which is now moved into Parker County, there's no four-year university in Parker County, and you look at the growth projections, Parker County is the 8th fastest growing county in the country, and just all of the development westward, the amount of industrial development that's going to be coming, we said, where do we need to be to serve 30 years from now? And we said, your district's the place to go.
Well, proud of that. Has anybody been out there to see all the construction? Where we're talking about, right, is that part where 20 and 30 meet and they become one. There's a little peninsula, Walsh property. It's incredible. If you haven't seen, TxDOT is building infrastructure out there very quickly that will help do this. And I think eventually, tell us how many acres and how big and people.
So it's 51 acres right at that intersection. So we will be the gateway into Fort Worth. And so our UTA West campus, we're going to have a groundbreaking in a month. And the land capacity will hold between 10 and 12,000 students in the long term. We obviously won't start there day one, but that's the capacity at build out. And so as we look at the size of what Parker County is going to be, just Parker County alone, not taking the Fort Worth and the Tarrant County size, is going to be the size of Amarillo, Laredo, Tyler. All of those places have significant university presences. UT Permian Basin, for example, and UT Tyler both have between 6,000 and 10,000 students. So just Parker County alone will be able to support this campus. When you add in the west side of Fort Worth, the growth potential is huge.
It is huge. And I know you've talked a lot about too, what are some of the programming, we've talked about this, that you're already thinking about could be out there as well?
Oh, I know. It's so secret.
Oh, shoot.
I know. Okay, it's not that secret. Okay, but here's the dilemma. We brought on board our design build team, and we have lots we want to do, but only so much that can fit into that first phase of development. So it's figuring out and prioritizing, and it's working really closely with the Economic Development Partnership. There's 2,800 acres of industrial land that is immediately south of our location between Walsh and Veal Ranches. And so we are meeting with companies all the time that are looking into that area and saying, where do we want to go? So we know advanced manufacturing is going to come in there. We know we're going to be bringing some of our outstanding engineering programs. All of UTA's engineering programs are ranked in the top 100. We have almost 10,000 engineering students. And so we know that that's an area we're going to focus on. And so the question is, some of the specialty will depend on what businesses land out there.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So I know you're looking at some of what you're traditionally classes that students would take, but there's also, what I hear you saying is there's a lot of malleability of what could go out there depending on what's being built around you.
Well, you just think about it, between now and 2028, how many businesses do you hope to be able to say, yeah, they're coming to Walsh and Veal and the rest of the area?
Well, if I'm Robert Allen, I'm going to say a bunch. And Robert Stearns, is Robert in here too? Where is he?
Yeah, he is.
Say yes, a lot. I know he's moving on, but I know he'll still have a flag out there too. With all that growth and everything that we're talking about, what are you most proud of that have accomplished at this point?
Well, I would say a commitment to community impact. So when we look at the outcomes of our students, we are ranked by the Wall Street Journal as the #1 university in Dallas-Fort Worth for career outcomes. Our students have the highest starting salaries of any university in the whole region, among the highest in the whole state. Our students' average starting salary from a bachelor's degree is $67,500. That's a lot of money for a brand new bachelor's graduate, and that's because we've worked very, very carefully to align regional workforce needs with our academic programs. So we're always meeting with the economic development agencies, others, thinking about what are those high demand careers that are going to create social and economic mobility for our students, so that we make sure that we're attracting talent and keeping them local. That 60 to 70% of our graduates in any given year will choose to stay in Dallas-Fort Worth, and that's really, the mission that I'm committed to, because if we want Fort Worth to grow, it's going to take keeping our talent here.
Yes, that's good point there, for sure, that we want people to stay. You kind of hit on this a little bit, but how are you navigating the changing landscape of education at this point? And how's UTA?
Yeah, so some of it you talked about earlier, there's just an increasing top of mind thought about education. And I'd say one of the big challenges for Texas is that we don't have enough of our kids graduating from high school and going on to post-secondary credentialing. So whether they're going to technical college, community college, a university, we're 10 percentage points behind the rest of the nation. And that is critical when we're thinking about attracting those high caliber jobs that we want to attract. It takes advanced training. You look at the kinds of manufacturing that's happening today, it's not the manufacturing of bygone eras. It requires advanced skills. And many of the jobs that we want to attract are very sophisticated, high-end jobs that are going to require graduate degrees or at least bachelor's degrees. And so we've got to make sure that we're delivering on that. And so this educational expansion that you're seeing across North Texas and in Fort Worth in particular is really being responsive to how do we all participate in growing the college going rate of our kids right here in our region. And so I anticipate we'll be even more successful in attracting new jobs with the growth of higher education in our area.
Well, we can see it exploding, definitely, in ensuring that people have access to all kinds of. If someone's thinking about sending their child to UTA, why?
Why should they go to UTA? Yes. Okay, well, I'm just going to share my child's journey, okay? Because let me just say, mom being president is definitely in the con list of why you would never choose to go to UTA, okay? Luckily, I only have one kid, and he still chose UTA. So, one, our high schools and our colleges, our community colleges are doing a great job of getting kids ready for college. So my own child, he did his senior year at Tarrant County College. He was able to come in with a year and a half of credit into UTA. And when he thought about what is my college journey going to look like, he could go anywhere. First of all, he said, Mom, you're not giving me enough money that I can just go anywhere, okay? So I gotta be conscious about where I'm choosing. Two, he wanted to work in Dallas-Fort Worth when he graduates. He's like, well, then why would I leave the region if I wanna work here? I can get internships here, I can build relationships here, I like it here. And then he looked at all the various schools, and when he met with our faculty and took a tour of the campus, he was like, oh yeah, sign me up, even if you are the president. He's like, but I'm not going to events with you. So So I would just say for everybody, you do not have to look far to get a great quality education. You know, you think about the size of the Dallas-Fort Worth region, we are larger than most states in the country. And so of course we have extraordinary institutions of higher education, and UTA being one of those, a top tier Texas tier 1 research university right in our backyard. You should look at us for whatever program makes the most sense for you.
That's great. Explain that a little bit for our folks here too. Why is it important, because this is also why we're building A&M here right in the middle of downtown, why is it important for a city to have a top-tier research institute?
Yeah, so let me back up in time. If you look at the economy of California 30 years ago, they were really ahead of Texas in terms of their economic development. And part of the reason they were ahead of Texas in their economic development is that they have the University of California system. Extraordinarily fantastic top-tier research universities. So if you want to look at Silicon Valley, UC Berkeley is part of why we have such success in Silicon Valley. You look at UCLA, all these other extraordinarily good universities. If you looked at Texas 30 years ago, we had 2 universities that were in that top tier. So in 1999, the Texas legislature passed the Texas Tier 1 research bill, and the goal was for every major region in the state to have a Tier 1 research university. And so the state put money into 8 universities across the state and said, these are the 8 universities that we want to rise up and become national level universities. And so UTA, UTD, and UNT are the 3 for North Texas that were selected. You've got Texas Tech, UT El Paso, UT San Antonio, University of Houston, and Texas Tech are those universities. So all but one since 1999 has become a Carnegie Research One University, which is a very high intensity research university, that top 4% of universities in the country. And then Texas set additional bars that said we want to get above those to say that we think that you're among the best universities in the country, kind of that top half of those universities. And so 4 of us have made it so far. So Texas Tech, University of Houston, UT Arlington, UTD, and then UT San Antonio just joined in the last year, meeting those state metrics. So we've just seen this continual escalation in the quality and impact of our universities in North Texas. And so sometimes I think, you know, we think back to the past and we don't realize how good our institutions have become here in North Texas. And we're just on a continued upward path forward.
Wonderful, and that eventually obviously leads to a good workforce, leads to all the things that you've talked to earlier. Okay, Bob, are you ready to ask your question? I don't know, it's normally yeah.
3 truths. Is it accurate that UTA has been the 4th largest producer of CPAs in America for something like 40 to 50 years, including Mike Baylor some years back? Is that a true statement?
I do not know if we're the 4th largest producer of accountants, but we're way up there in terms of accounting talent.
What is the largest executive MBA program in China?
The largest executive MBA program in China is UTA.
And we didn't get the super glider.
Well, let me just add one little tidbit. So we have more than 500 executive MBA students in China. Yeah. So we're helping to develop talent all over the world, and so we're a globally impactful university. Okay, 3rd truth.
And then third thing is we canned $1 billion of infrastructure that was going into the super glider a number of years ago when the Fed pulled the. But do we still have the PhDs, and does the Lucerne information research get sent here every year to be analyzed by UTA?
Yeah, so back when the superconducting super collider was coming to Texas, UTA invested in building a world-class high-energy physics program. That superconducting super collider is no more, but that doesn't mean that work is not happening. And so that's happening in CERN in Switzerland. So we have a team of 12 people that rotate in and out and are building the superconducting super collider in Switzerland. And all of the data that's generated from CERN comes to UTA and is housed on our campus. I won't tell you where because that's a secret. Yeah.
That's great. Anybody else questions? Someone has to. It's been that good? Okay.
Yeah, so we are typically ranked in the top 3 nationally, depending on the year, universities for veterans. We have top-notch services to support our veterans and military-friendly families and getting the resources they need to be successful at UTA. The connection to the defense industries is certainly a key asset that we're able to take military veterans, get them developed, send them right back out into the workforce right here in Dallas-Fort Worth. And so, yes, as we continue westward, we're going to continue to support veterans and make sure that we remain one of those top universities for veterans.
Back here.
NTAC is where my father-in-law went to school. I didn't hear you mention that in your historical development.
Yeah, so we were North Texas Agricultural College. That's when we were the Agricultural Community College, back before we evolved into Arlington State College and then into UT Arlington. So yeah, it's an important part of our history. You can come to our library this fall. We're gonna be having our official 130th birthday celebration in September, and we have an exhibition in our library that's gonna tell the story of 130 years at UTA, and we have a website, uta.edu/130, that tells some of that story too.
That's great. Back there.
There's a new company in Arlington called Mosey that manufactures autonomous vehicles. Will that provide opportunities for your students?
Yeah, absolutely. So we already have opportunities for students for employment at Mosey. And, you know, one of the things that we're looking at is micro-mobility solutions on campus. So Might a Mosey, it's an autonomous shuttle, takes students from parking areas into the campus or move them around the campus. We actually just won a major international award. We've had an autonomous shuttle that runs around the campus and into downtown Arlington that we've been operating for 4 years. And it's been really interesting. Students just hop on, go downtown, come back, and have a great experience. So we're looking forward to the expansion of mobility solutions.
Andy.
So UTA downtown and Texas A&M are going to be right across the street from each other. What kind of potential for collaboration does that represent?
Yeah, you know, UTA in downtown, right alongside Texas A&M, you know, we're creating an innovation district, an educational hub. You see this in cities across the country. For example, in Philadelphia, you see Drexel, you see University of Pennsylvania, all clustered together. And so as Texas A&M matures and opens some new facilities, there's going to be some great opportunities for collaboration. We already have a joint MBA law degree program that we operate between those 2 campuses right now. And so I just look forward to more potential to come.
I think there was a question right back. Yeah.
Yeah, what's the tuition? And the other question is, what are the top 3 programs? Is healthcare one of them?
Yes. So the tuition is right around $11,000, but that's the sticker price. We have very generous donors that have helped us to generate funds for merit-based scholarships as well as need-based scholarships. Our Blaze Forward program is really a signature for us. If you come from a family that makes less than $100,000 a year, then you will not have to pay tuition and fees. So it's an extraordinary opportunity for students to not have the burden of worrying about the cost of education, preventing them from pursuing their dreams. Okay, and then you asked, top 3 programs. Okay, so, you know, I want to brag on all my programs, you know, because they're so amazing. And so we've got tons and tons that are top rated nationally. But number 1, people know us for nursing. We produce roughly half the state's nurses. And so it's an outstanding program. Every time you go to the doctor, you are probably seeing a UTA nurse right alongside you. Number 2 is engineering. All of our engineering programs are ranked in the top 100, many well above that. And we are in the top 10 nationally for civil engineering programs. We're one of the 10 biggest civil engineering programs in the country. Makes sense. This is a high growth area. We need lots of civil engineers out there building our roads, bridges, and all of our other infrastructure. And then 3, we're the 2nd largest architecture school in the country. So that's just another one. I could keep going, but I'll stop there. You said 3.
I think there was, back, so, yeah, Harry.
Yeah, there is a statistic where we're larger than UT, but you know, I'm not going to use that as my talking point because, like, you know, a traditional measure of how many students you have in the fall semester in a traditional academic program, we have more than 41,000 students. UT is up around 50,000. But if you look at students who are doing certificate programs and other kinds of programs, then because we're so responsive to the workforce needs, then we well exceed those, you know, Longhorns down there.
Right here. Yes.
Tell us about your students.
Oh, our students are extraordinary. Yeah. So if you look at the profile of our students, our sweet spot is that top 25% high school graduate. So they're really academically talented. They want to pursue a professionally oriented program, and so they're going to come to UTA because they want to be an engineer, a nurse, an architect. They want to be in the cinematic arts, working for 101 Studios, whoever it might be. They're going to come to UTA. And, you know, our diversity is extraordinary. We have students from 100 different countries, every cultural background you could imagine. We graduate more Black students than any other university in this state. And so, you know, our scale, as well as the breadth of our academic programs, the quality of our offerings, has made us a really great attractor. And we say, first and foremost, we want to start by recruiting students that are right here in our region, because we want to keep them in our region. If they like the region to start with, they're likely to stay in the region. So that's really our strategy, is going to all the high schools in our region and say, think about UTA and whether this is the right fit for you.
And you would say they're well trained.
I think our outcomes speak for themselves. You know, we're the top provider of talent for most of the organizations in our region. For example, Bell, we're the top provider of talent to Bell, as just one example. And so you will find UTA graduates in every company right here in our region.
Wonderful. Right there.
I was personally distressed to see some of the campus protests around the Hamas invasion of Israel. What has the university done? Has it taken a firm position on those kinds of issues about protests on campus and so forth?
Well, you should know the state of Texas has a robust free speech on university campus laws. That means that anybody that wants to come on our campus and protest or express their free speech rights is welcome to do so. There are very clear boundaries around permission to use amplified sound. You can hold a sign, but you can't have a sign with a stick. There's all kinds of things. We have a no encampment policy, so you can't set up camps and camp out overnight, but you are free to come on our campus and express your viewpoints on any topic you might want. That could be any person in the community, any person in our campus community. And then, of course, we don't tolerate, people who are discriminating against others. And so our student code of conduct is very clear about the regulations around that. We train every student organization at the beginning of the fall semester to say, here's how you can engage in free speech activities, here's the ways to express yourself. And I think our students do a really wonderful job. And if you compare UTA to some of the other universities around the country and what happened during the response to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, I think you'd say that we did extraordinarily well in terms of how we responded to our students wanting, and others in the community, because there were outsiders coming in on campus expressing their viewpoints.
Great. Yes.
It's about 54% of our students are first time in college, and that's very close to the national average. About half of students enrolled in four-year universities are the first in their family to go to college.
Any? Oh, yes.
Sorry.
I'm curious more about UTA West, will they similar degrees and mirroring what's in Arlington, or different programs you're targeting there, or what the culture may look like with housing, or is it for either school around that?
Yeah, so the wonderful thing is that we are going to be in downtown Walsh. And so there are already apartments that are being constructed immediately adjacent to our campus. So students will be able to literally walk next door if they want to live more or less on campus, or they can drive from, their home in a nearby community if they want to. We're not building housing day one because there is such close proximity, and you need to have sufficient scale on a campus before you get to that point of having a robust residential life component. In terms of the academic programs, there are some areas that are so high demand that every university in our whole region is offering that program, and it's still not enough. And then we have programs that are going to be unique and distinct, and that really gets into the economic development strategy for the city to say, what are the companies that we're bringing? If you're bringing a battery technology company, for example, well, we have great expertise in battery technology. Maybe we're offering a program that's unique for that industry, and so we're really open to having those conversations. So for now, we're looking at what are the building blocks that we need to put in place as we get started, and then where's the opportunities for specialization as the region grows.
Yeah, and I'm glad you asked that question. We didn't say it earlier, but if you've heard the mayor lately talk about this is numbers, I think, based on the North Texas Commission. That really area will be the center of the Metroplex by 2100. So you talk about the growth west that will start happening. It's there, and I'm really proud that y'all are looking that far ahead about what that looks like and servicing people there.
Well, I'm a city planner as my professional, professorial background, so I couldn't help but look to the future.
For sure. I think there was back here. Yep.
So what is your approach to intercollegiate sports? It seems like a lot of emphasis on that in schools.
Yeah, we're a Division I athletics program, and so we compete in the Western Athletic Conference. Our volleyball team went to the NCAA tournament this season. Our men's tennis team went to the NCAA tournament last season. We do not have football. And so, I'm impressed we've made it this far before we got to athletics. We had a football team until 1986. It's on the 130th anniversary website. So we've been undefeated since 1986. Yeah. So what I'll say is intercollegiate athletics is a wonderful front door to a university. And when we think about the power that athletics has to bring together community, it's really extraordinary. But what I will say is my criticism of intercollegiate athletics is that students pay for the vast majority of the cost of intercollegiate athletics. So our students are paying somewhere at most universities $500 to $1,000 a year for the privilege of having sports on their campus. And so if you think about the cost of Power 5 football, or for however you want to think about it, and other sports teams, the costs become extraordinary very, very quickly. And you can have a robust alumni base and others that are contributing to some of those costs, but you're still going to see students bear the significant majority of that. And so as a university, we have said we're focused on career outcomes first, and that's our number one priority, is making sure we're doing a fantastic job educating students and making sure they're prepared for careers. And we want them to have a great student life experience on campus, and we can do that with Division I sports and have great teams that are succeeding and our student athletes doing well, but that we're not interested in spending what it would take to get to that next level of athletics. We think spending that money on career preparation is a better investment for our students in their future.
I think there's one over here, back there in the back. Yep. I'll get to you, Maddie.
Yeah, so that's a great question. How are we an enabler? And so if you look at the checklist of what are companies looking for when they're looking to locate into an area, on that list every time is, what is the higher education research partner, that is going to be there alongside us? And so I know that Robert Allen and the city were thrilled, Michael, when we made this announcement, because they said, oh my gosh, this is going to speed up the development, the economic development of this part of our region, just much, much faster. There's a civil engineering firm that makes prefabricated bridges and other infrastructure that located out in Crescent, which is southwest of Fort Worth. When they heard we were coming, like on the phone immediately, we want to come to your campus. We want to see what's happening in Arlington. We know you're the place for civil engineering. Let's create a partnership. What can we do together as you're looking at this westward expansion? So we know that there will be many more of those success stories that come. And I hope the same for all of our higher education partners across North Texas, that we are critical enablers of economic development.
Maddie.
Oh my gosh, this is like so much time every day right now. So there are lots of things that higher ed can do better. So no doubt, opportunities in every industry that we can do better. Higher ed can do better. My frustration right now is that the rhetoric around wokeness and things like that being the anthem for dismantling higher education. Are there things we could do better? Yes, but that doesn't mean you want to dismantle your economic development engine. And so I'll say right now, my biggest concern, and I'm in DC and I'm in Austin, I'm all over the place all the time, is that right now what we're seeing through the budget process to reduce spending and reallocate it elsewhere is a dismantling of the research infrastructure of this country. So before 1950, the way research was done was you had a wealthy friend that would say, I like your idea, or a company like Bell, the telephone people, would invest in research and development, but there was almost no federal research happening. And we were woefully behind the world in terms of innovation. The US after World War II said, we want to be an innovation engine, invested over time in growing research and development capacity, and we became the world leaders in innovation. So basically, every medicine that you have probably ever taken is a result of NIH funding to support research that led to that pharmaceutical innovation. If you look at all of our technology, the vast majority of it, it started at universities. And so the federal government made a decision that universities are an easy engine for R&D. Right now, that's what's being considered nationally as part of the budget, is whether or not we're going to reduce that and what percentage we're going to reduce that. And so I think a critical question I have for our federal legislatures when I'm going to meet with them is, what is the plan? If you reduce the budget, what is your plan for R&D in this country? And how do we make sure that we are achieving what we need to achieve to grow our economy for the future? And so I would just encourage all of you to be asking those questions too, about what's the strategy to make sure we have a robust R&D infrastructure in this country.
Good point. That's the last question. Let's give her a hand. If you haven't figured out, she's super cool and smart and knows what she's doing. You're the right person at the right time for UT. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Dr. Kelly, thank you so much for being here. What an impact UTA is having on this entire region, everyone. This was fantastic. Thank you, Michael.
of course.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Dr. Kelly, just a moment. We have a gift for you. For your time here today with us, we've made a contribution in your name to the Rotary Polio Plus Foundation.
Oh, thank you so much.
And we look forward to you coming back with an update.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. How exciting, everyone. We'll be watching that. Just a few closing announcements. Thank you again to the Telshout Johnson Law. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, our Richard L. Knight RMBA sponsors. You've seen some of these on the slide. That's coming, so everyone get ready and get your sponsorships in. Also to our past Rotarian Gordon Boswell, who provides this beautiful floral arrangement to us every week here at the podium. Be sure to join us, everyone. Next week, March 7th, we'll have an update on the TCU Campus Master Plan. And don't forget, our visiting Girl Scouts, they just might have a box of cookies for you as you leave on your way out today. Everybody, make it a great weekend. We are adjourned.